sports fans, to another episode of the 2315 Sports Show. We're on episode 26. A lot of championship talk today. We got the NBA championship and the U.S. Open championship. If you guys are watching, obviously, my co-host is not Ethan. He has decided to take another PTO week, and I guess we allowed it. So my wife, Mandy, is filling in, so I appreciate you subbing in again.
Yeah, of course.
He's kind of slacking, but, you know, I guess he deserves time off every now and then. And this is probably the episode that he doesn't want to miss because we're actually talking about one of his teams.
I was going to say, he didn't plan that very well.
No, he did not. So jumping right into it, we don't really have any picks, parlays, and prayers. I think really the only prayer I would have is the Edmonton Oilers coming back. Hockey, they're making it 3-2, going back to Florida, I think. No, they're going to Edmonton because Florida would have Game 7, unless it's different in hockey. But that was a 3-0 series. Now they're 3-2 all of a sudden, going into a Game 6. So that'll be interesting. Also, a little bit of news. Another kind of sports legend passed away this week, Willie Mays, at the young age of 93. So that's a pretty long life, very, very influential and legend in the baseball world, especially for the Giants. So sad news there, but again, he was 93. So very, very long life. So that's good. Jumping right in, we do have the NBA champions, the Boston Celtics. I actually, going into this, when me and Ethan were talking, had them sweeping Dallas. So I was probably the closest. I think he said he thought it was going to go Game 6 or 7. It ended up wrapping up, was that Sunday night, right?
Yeah.
Or Sunday, I think.
No, Monday night. Sorry,
Monday
Sunday
night
was the golf. Monday was the championship.
Yep. So Monday night, Boston won, making the series 4-1. Won in Game 5 in Boston, which I kind of feel like that was set up.
They did that on purpose, I think.
Yes. Yeah. I think they lost in Dallas on purpose just so they could win in front of their home crowd. I agree 100%. But what a dominant series. I mean, the one game they can say Dallas dominated, but I guess you can say they did, but I don't think they did. So,
I mean, they dominated that game, but again, I think that I just feel like they kind of wanted to win in Boston. They were playing so good and so hard, like all 3 games prior to that, and then all of a sudden it's like kind of like a oops. So that's why I kind of think they were like, okay, let's put it back to Boston. But I don't know how I feel about that. Like, how would you feel about that? Like, I know you want to win at home, but what if you just shift your whole momentum? Like, obviously that didn't happen in this case, but what if you shift your whole momentum and then just screw it all up?
it could. It very well could. I don't know, teams. So, little stat here: teams are now I think they're 157 or something stupid. 157 on coming back on 0-3. So I think Boston was pretty safe that they weren't going to come back. So, but I agree. I mean, that could have. I mean, again, look at the hockey. We're talking 3-0 series there, and now all of a sudden it's 3-2. They slacked off in Game 4 as well. I think they got beat 8-2 or something. So I could see it. Hockey, definitely a way different sport than basketball, but if that's what they're never going to come out and say they did that on purpose. But if that's what they did, I like it. I like them winning in Boston in front of the Boston crowd, which is absolutely nuts. That game, they were so loud, and they dominated. Defense wins, but they also have great offensive talent too. So, and a great coach. I like their coach. for
Yeah,
sure.
I'm glad that they finally did it because they've been so close for so many years. And then there's been the rumors that, should they blow up the team and all this stuff? Like, are they going to ever win together? And so I'm glad that they finally, like, pretty much shut those guys up and said, like, we can do this. I think that their coach is great. I think he's going to have an even brighter future with
Yes.
them. Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown are obvious ballers. So I think this is not the last one for the Celtics. I think they're gonna continue. They're gonna compete and they're gonna just go strong.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I saw something Jalen Rose, not I think it was an old interview, but back when they were threatening, oh, you have to split up Jalen Brown and Jason Tatum. Like it's just not working. And he said, no. He said, you do not split up Jalen Brown and Jason Tatum because they were two crazy wing players that are good on defense. They can shoot, they can dribble, and they can pass. He said, you don't split those guys up. He said, what you do is go get you a point guard. What do? They get rid of Marcus Smart. Questionable move at the time. Uh, and then they ended up landing Drew Holiday, who the Bucks kind of did that too. They brought him in halfway through the year and they end up
Mhm.
winning the championship. So he's kind of the catalyst. Um, Drew Holiday is a hell of a basketball player. Even some of the stories, he's a hell of a better man. So I love it for Drew Holiday, and I hope he
Yeah,
actually stays at Boston.
I agree. There will be no Drew Holiday slander here because I think he's a great player. I think he's a great person, and
Mm,
I'm glad he won as well as all of the Celtics team. And
yep.
I think it shows a lot for their like faith and their confidence in their guys because after they had the scandal with the coach or whatever, they could have just
Mhm.
blew up right then and there and said, "Well, we're getting a new coach. Let's just start over." And they didn't do that. They had faith in their guys and they kept chugging along and they had, a couple heartbreaks, but at the end, it was probably all worth it for them.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. This team isn't the teams from before that lost, but they probably have should have won a couple times already. Um, different again. I think it's the point guard. Like Marcus Smart wasn't. I'm not going to say he's not good because he's lockdown defender. He can pass, but he's not the offensive guy Drew Holiday was. So Drew Holiday has all of that plus playoff or championship experience. So um, I don't know. I like the move. I think everyone can get off Jason Tatum's back now because there is me and Ethan talk about this all the time. There is so much unwarranted hate toward him for no reason. Like to me, Ethan tweeted it the other day, and I kind of commented on it. I said he's one of the top five, or he's one of the top guys in the NBA. I said I think he is the top guy in the NBA. He's great offensively. He's great defensively. He can rebound. He can pass. He's Jokic, but in a smaller frame and more athletic, obviously. Um, and I think he's going to be the face of the NBA. And Jalen Brown's not far behind him because I love him too. I'm a Jalen Brown guy. I've always have been. And I told Ethan from the start he was the best pick they ever got, obviously, besides Tatum. But speaking of that, big surprise to me anyway that Jalen Brown got the Finals MVP. Um, I figured they would have given it to Tatum. One, just it's Jason Tatum. He's the face of Boston. But also Jason Tatum, I believe, averaged a double double in the finals series. But I think Jalen Brown put up more points probably, and that's why he got it. But either way, you weren't going to go wrong. I love Jalen Brown getting it. And I don't know. What do you think? Do you think he deserved it, or do you
Well, I
think
think
it was
that
a
I think
Tatum?
honestly a lot of people were surprised as I was scrolling through Twitter. I saw like a lot of people surprised that Jason Tatum got it that Jalen Brown got it over Jason Tatum. And I think that like that was the majority consensus. I honestly don't think you could go wrong either way. I mean, both of those guys are key pieces to the Celtics. They're both ballers.
Yes.
They're both, I mean, standout players. And honestly, if they picked Jason Tatum over Jaylen Brown, I wouldn't be questioning that either. So I think honestly, either decision is honestly a clear cut decision because they're both ballers and they're both. I mean, if they had two MVPs, you could give two of them
Oh,
out for sure because they're both great. And I don't think there's anybody that can argue that they're not both great and they're not both key pieces. So I mean, it's honestly just like how you feel. Who did better during the series? And obviously, they felt like Jaylen Brown had a better series, but you can make an argument for either one. They're both great.
yeah. Yeah, I agree. I also saw again though. So I think they're the best duo in the NBA.
Mhm.
By far. No one's even close. And they have been for a while. Just people keep hating on the Boston Celtics because they couldn't win. Well, now they won. And like Jason said, what are they going to say now? Because, you know, they won. It's done. Um, Good moment. I don't know if you saw it on Twitter, but Jason Tatum with his son Deuce. Um, he's always with him. I give the man credit. I don't know who the mom is. I don't know as anyone does. So that's kind of cool too on their part. But he's always at the game and he's always, right there with him. And right when they were celebrating the picture, that's going to be probably iconic is him throwing Deuce up in the air, holding him up and saying we did it. So um, that's got to be a cool experience for him to experience that with his son. And actually, I mean, we have a 9-month-old, so she wouldn't recollect what's happening, but the kid Deuce knows what's happening. Like dad won. Like I think that would be very cool to experience. So, like I said, best duo in the NBA, and they're going to be around for a long time. I saw a thing today that they're going to work on a Jason Tatum extension and a White, the point guard that actually,
Derek White.
yeah, that got his teeth busted.
Yeah.
That was
Did you
horrible.
see the video of Jaylen Brown and him though? He's like, "You're
Yeah,
ugly."
yeah, yeah. He said, I know in his post game interview, he was like, or they asked him like, what? How does it feel? He said, hell, I don't care. I'll lose all the teeth in my head as long as I get a championship ring. I don't care. I mean, it's fixable. So
Mhm.
who cares?
Well, I think
Uh,
another good video that I saw, and I don't know if you saw it, but there was a video of Al Horford and his kid, his son. His son just started breaking down crying, and I thought that
mm-hmm.
was just, I mean, that's awesome. Like Al
Yeah.
Horford has played so many games and so many seasons, and to finally get that ring
Yep.
is fantastic. But to do it with your son there and see his
Mm-hmm.
emotion, that had to just be like crazy emotional for him.
Oh yeah, yeah, I agree. Al Horford, he's a good player and a good guy too. 17 years, longest ever to like win a ring, I believe. And I think they said he's coming back for his 18th year.
Yeah,
So,
he is.
and I think he'll retire after that. I would bet. Um, Porzingis, he gets a ring. He deserves it too. During the season, he was flat out nasty, and then he gets hurt, and then comes back for the playoffs. Kind of gets banged up again. He played a little. They didn't. I don't think they needed him.
I don't think
Um,
they wanted to push him either.
no, I mean they didn't. They didn't need him in that game. They were going to win that game regardless.
Mhm.
Just the attitude. They were way above Dallas. The energy was out of this world. So
Yeah, I mean,
congratulations.
all in all, honestly, this series kind of sucked. Like it
Mhm,
wasn't a competitive like series. But I think I was rooting for Boston in the beginning, so that's fine with me. Like
mhm.
I'm glad they won. I'm glad they got it done. However, I will say if the Mavs keep it up, don't sleep on them because they're still going to be competitive next year. They're going to do well. Luca is obviously a baller. And Kyrie, he
Mhm,
is just I don't even know words for him. His handling skills and he's just nasty. Like he's so good. So
mhm.
if they stick it out together, I think that could be a good duo as well coming forward.
Yep, yep. And mark my words, LeBron will be there next year. I can. That's who it's going to be. That's where it's
We'll
going to be
see.
too. I I can sense that. Mark Cuban will do it. Kyrie wants to play with him again. LeBron wants to
Mhm.
play with Kyrie again. Luca, I mean, he ain't
I
gonna
think
care
Luca
who's
would
out
play with
there.
anybody. Honestly,
Yep.
he's kind of open to whatever.
However, I don't think, as crazy as it sounds, I don't think it makes them better. I I don't think they'll be as good.
It'll be tough, because they'll have to rework their whole system. So it'll be tough. It'll be a challenge.
And LeBron, I don't know a team LeBron's been on where the ball has been out of his hands a lot. And that team it would be because Luka, I mean, why would you take the ball out of his hands? He's a walk-in triple-double. So with assists, so not a chance. Good NBA season. Love to see Boston hang up banner number 18. It's good to see the old big time teams come back every now and then. So hopefully that means the Bulls are right around the corner.
Yeah,
That's what
I
I'm
mean,
hoping for.
one of my favorite series is over the years to watch was the Celtics and the Lakers with Kobe and the Celtics team. Like that was one of the best ones, and so to see them come back and be strong again's awesome.
I agree. I also I know some of us we follow Barstool obviously, and Portnoy like right afterwards said, "Are we putting this as the greatest team ever?" And I talent wise, it's up there, and I would go on to say it's top 5 for sure. I don't know if I don't even know if it beats the Golden State teams recently with Steph, Clay, Draymond, KD for one of them. Like that's a lot of firepower. So
Yeah, I mean, on paper, you could probably
oh
argue and
yeah.
make a case. As far as resume, I think they have just a little bit more to go, but that's not to
Oh
diss
yeah.
them in any way at all.
Mm-hmm.
But recent teams, the Golden State team was phenomenal, and unfortunately,
Yes.
I think they're going to blow up in this offseason. But they were phenomenal, so I think they have a little bit more of a resume to build.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely on paper, they could challenge them.
Yes, I agree. The resumes it started, and to me they were already a dynasty because they've made I don't know. I think since Jason Tatum got there, they were 6 of 7 years in the playoffs, and then 4 of those 6 are in the finals. Like I mean, that's you're bound to win one. So if they stack a few more good years together, they're going to be the new dynasty for sure. And that's good. I like Boston. I cheer for Boston whenever Chicago's out of it. So again, hopefully this means Chicago's on the comeback tour. So moving right along, we had two kind of big deals of the weekend. We had the obviously NBA champions, and then we had the U.S. Open. That was Sunday night. That Bryson DeChambeau won. Kind of kind of a controversial win, if you want to call it that. It's not because of how he won; it's just of who he is. And a lot of big headlines out of it. So open it up. I know you bet on him
Yeah.
right off the rip, so that's pretty impressive. Hell of a golfer. He seems like he's a good person, hell of a person too. Pinehurst played tough. Pinehurst, we both been. Um, it's a beautiful place. It looked beautiful. The course kind of looked actually kind of shitty, if you want to call it that, compared to other prestige courses. But that's just their landscape, I think. But again, the course played tough. A lot of people did not do well. I mean, the winner was I think he finally won at 7 under, 6 under, maybe 6 under. I
I think
think
the final was 600.
so. That says something when they're not in the teens. Um, so it was good. It was good. I'm a Rory guy, so I was a little disappointed in the whole thing. He had it and then choked it away again for the upteenth time. So But well deserved for Bryson DeChambeau.
Mhm.
I can't complain about it.
Yeah, he's been on a hot streak lately, and he barely lost at Valhalla to Scotty. So, or not Scotty. Sorry, I think of Valhalla and think
Xander.
of Scotty getting arrested.
Yeah, pretty
To
much.
Xander, he barely lost to Xander at Valhalla, and he's just been really on a run lately. So I just had a good feeling about him coming into this weekend, and he did not prove me wrong at all. He played very, very good. Had some iffy shots, and then the last day when he changed his driver, I was like, okay, what the hell are we doing here? But overall, I'm glad he won. I think everybody has this persona of him that he is kind of like, because before I felt like he kind of had that like standoffish attitude. But he's
He did.
done like a total 360.
Mm-hmm.
I follow him a little bit on his YouTube channel, whatever, and just kind of watch that. I started doing that because I'll be honest, Paige Sporanic was on there, and I follow anything that she does. So I kind of followed him from
Don't
there,
we all?
and he's really a very entertaining person. And you
Mm-hmm.
could tell that he just loves the game. And
Mm-hmm.
so I'm glad that that is now showing. Like he, interacted with the fans during the tournament. He, never really like, I mean, I'm not going to say get frustrated because you always get frustrated when you
Oh
play
yeah.
golf. But he still kept that like calm demeanor,
Mm-hmm.
which beforehand he would get like very upset and whatever. So I just really like this new image that he has created for himself, and people are actually getting to see him, as opposed to like the frustration and whatever built up. I think one of the coolest things that I saw was that after he won, he stayed out until like, I don't know, it was like 10:30, 11 o'clock. He was still outside signing autographs for fans. Like that's pretty
Mm-hmm.
cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. So a little backdrop on him. I think a lot of this war between the LIV and the PGA, it has people torn about him. A
And I think
change in
that's a
the
lot where his like kind of bad persona came from.
nah. Well,
Well,
no,
it
because he
didn't
was
help. I'll put it that way. It
no,
didn't help.
no. I mean, he was kind of a jerk in the
Mhm.
PGA. Like him and Brooks got into it. Like that was a feud, which I saw they squashed that. And I said,
Yeah, he was
you know,
like the first person.
yeah. I mean, all this turnaround. Everyone's like, oh, how did he do it? How did he do it? Well, $200 million usually does that to somebody. I mean, face it.
Mhm.
He has $200 million guaranteed to play golf. There is no deal in the world like that anywhere. So now I mean, you're stressed to compete against yourself. Obviously, you want to win, but there's no stress to make money for your family.
Well,
Like
and he also lost his dad, and I think they said
that puts it in
2020.
perspective too.
And so I think that kind of helped
Hmm.
as well. But I just think
And he grew up.
I've seen a lot of his like interviews since then and during then and whatever. And he talked a lot about it, like his YouTube channel and how that helped him like interact with fans and people more and attract a new audience. And I think that helped too because he saw that he could be his like self,
Hmm.
and people wouldn't mind it. I think a lot. I think because golf is such a like prestige type sport, I think a lot of people are afraid to like shift those
Hmm.
boundaries and be themselves or whatever, because I think they're afraid that they're going to get like shunned or whatever. But I like to see people like interact and
Hmm.
have fun and enjoy it, because at the end of the day, like, it's an expensive game, but it's just a game.
It is. You're getting paid to play a game. I mean, there's nothing. There would be nothing like it. So, and also, a little backdrop of LIV and PGA. So, LIV is a team sport and not an individual. It also they have music playing, the fans can be loud, they can like all through their swings. So I think, you saw him like interacting with the fans and telling them to, pump it up and and it's like that's cuz he's used to that. Like he's playing in a league that it takes it takes golf whether you agree with LIV or not, it doesn't matter. It takes golf and puts it in a more fun and relaxed atmosphere. Golf is a very, like you said, prestigious, classy sport, which there's nothing wrong with that. But times change. Like again, at the end of the day, it's a game, so you need to have fun with it. and the fans should be able to have fun with it too. So good for him. I personally believe Rory lost the U.S. Open more so than Bryson DeChambeau won it, because Bryson DeChambeau on his last round went like 5 of 17 or something like that. Well, that wouldn't make sense. Like 4 of 14 hitting fairways. That's not, for a pro, that's not that impressive. Like, that's, I mean, for me, that's a great day. For them, they're used to hitting fairways left and right. And Rory had a 2-stroke lead going into the 16th hole, and he loses by 1. So to me, I'm not taking anything away from DeChambeau, but Rory lost it more so than Bryson DeChambeau went out and won it. However, on the 18th hole, after Rory bogeyed and went down 1, and then Bryson's shot was in friggin' left field on a rock, and after he sunk it in or put it into the sand trap, I was like, there's going to be a playoff here, because just Pinehurst was playing tough. And the shot that he made out of that sand trap was downright impressive. That there is where he went and won the tournament, right
That
there.
is one thing I will say that I noticed. I watched all 4 days from Thursday to Sunday, and his sand traps, his shots from there are kind of unreal. Like, I don't know, like, he's gotta be super smart, because that is just the way he gets out of, like, a sand trap, just really kind of, like, I don't know, it was cool to watch, because out of all the sand traps he had, I don't think there was ever one that I was like, "Oh my god, what is he doing?" Like, he knew what he was doing. So that was impressive to me.
Yeah, and he put it right where he wanted to. There was a lot of good, like they call it scramble golf, to where it wasn't perfect, and the pros were scrambling to get like pars and birdies, and there was a lot of amazing shots. Rory, Bryce, Scotty, like Scotty sucked, but
There was a
they,
few hole-in-ones that were pretty cool.
yeah, I mean, there was some crazy scrambling and just crazy things happen at the U.S. Open.
Mhm.
And Pinehurst is on a kind of not a yearly, but every 5th
5.
year.
It's back in
Um,
2029.
yes, so they are a staple in that.
Mhm.
So hopefully we'll go to that in 2029. That'll be the goal. My aunt was volunteering all weekend and got some pretty cool pictures, so that was cool. Also, it was kind of good. Bryson won because Payne Stewart is a big deal there. They have a statue of him. We saw it, and he's a huge fan of him. That's why he went to the college he went to. So to
That's
win
why he
it,
wore his hat he used to wear too.
yep, with the kind of
Mhm.
the weird brim hat, kind of old school hat, kind of Scottish style hat, I guess you'd say. So that was pretty cool. He won at Pinehurst, where Payne Stewart won, and actually his family was there too, I think. So, all around good tournament, all
Yeah.
around. And then the next and last one is the Open, the
Mhm.
British Open, which hopefully Rory, he's taking a couple weeks off. They said so. Hopefully he gets his
He
mind
said he
right.
would be back.
Yeah. He ain't missing that
Yeah.
one.
He said he would be back, so.
So that's good. That's good. It was a good show. I appreciate
Mhm.
you filling in
Yeah.
for Ethan.
Can we talk about the breaking news on my girl? Miss Cameron Brink
Oh,
tore her
yeah.
ACL, and I am not happy about it.
Yes, that was last
I
night. We're
I
shooting
knew
Wednesday, so that was Tuesday night.
Yeah, I knew that, I had a feeling that's what it was as soon as I saw it, but I'm not happy about it. I'm a huge fan of hers. I think she's fantastic.
Mhm.
She's probably my favorite, WNBA player. Like, Caitlin Clark is awesome. She's great. She's good. And she's phenomenal, but I just love Cameron Brink. So, hope she has a speedy recovery, and I'll be excited to see her on the floor next year.
I agree. Yeah, that's a big loss for a big rookie class coming in. That's actually kind of changing the game a little bit, and it's kind of causing some friction. So that'll be interesting going forward how that plays out. But yeah, that's tough loss for sure. But she'll bounce back. She's very in shape, so that's not going to be a problem. So thank you again, Ethan, missing on us, but everyone needs a vacation. I get it. Lucky man's at the beach this week, so shout out to him. I'm not even going to try and do the ending he does, but if you want to catch more of us, just come over to YouTube, like and subscribe there. Follow us on Twitter. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, or obviously YouTube. And then check out our TikTok as well. Peace.